Hey everyone, so the Apple Card has been arguably one of the most popular credit cards to get since it was released back in 2019, but now that it's been widely available for about 3 years now and millions of people have it, I wanted to ask the question in this video, is the Apple Card still worth it in 2022? Now the quick and easy answer for most people could be yes, because after all, the Apple Card is a no annual fee credit card and it can also earn unlimited 2% cash back on everything when paying with Apple Pay, which is pretty good. But even if this card might be worth it, not everyone should be using it, so that's what we're gonna be talking about today in this Apple Card review. We're gonna go back and forth between some of the positives and some of the negatives of the Apple Card, and then we'll talk about the different types of people who actually could find some good value from having it. So let's just get right into it here. Make sure to go ahead and tap the like button and subscribe down below to help support the channel. But to start off, like I said, the Apple Card has no annual fee, which is the first positive feature about it. Now the fact is that annual fees on credit cards just don't appeal to the majority of people out there, and since Apple wanted to draw in a very large potential customer base for this credit card, it just made sense for them to keep that annual fee out of it. However, on the flip side of that, unlike many other credit card companies like Chase, American Express, Capital One, Citi, and others, the Apple Card is not going to be offering any sort of welcome bonus when you sign up. And I know that to some people, the fact that this card does not have a welcome bonus is not going to be a deal breaker on the surface, but let me quickly explain why getting some sort of welcome bonus on a new credit card is actually very important. So if you compare the Apple Card earning 2% back on everything through Apple Pay with no welcome bonus to something like the no annual fee Chase Freedom Unlimited that gets 1.5% back on everything with a $200 welcome bonus, that 0.5% difference in cash back might not seem like a big deal at first. But then when we factor in getting $200 upfront with the Freedom Unlimited, we can start to see why a bonus is so important. The reason for this, if we take a look at some simple math on the screen right now, you would have to spend $40,000 on your Apple Card to earn $800 in cash back, compared to spending the same $40,000 on the Freedom Unlimited to earn $600 in cash back before you could say that using the Apple Card was worth it by an extra $200 to account for that extra $200 bonus on the Freedom Unlimited. Now, of course, $40,000 is a lot of spending to put on one single credit card, no matter how you look at it. And even if this was going to be your one and only credit card that you use, I still think that for most people, it would take several years to put $40,000 of everyday expenses on this credit card just to pay for things that you would normally use a credit card for. And a quick side note here, that Freedom Unlimited card can actually be combined with other Chase credit cards so that the 1.5% back really turns into 3% back or more on everything, as long as you're redeeming those earnings on this credit card for things like travel. I know that might sound confusing if you're not familiar with this, so go check out some of my other videos after watching this one where I explain all that in much more detail, and I'll link that stuff down in the description below. All right, now that we've addressed the Apple Card having no annual fee, which I think is a positive, along with having no welcome bonus, which I do think is a negative, let's next start talking about some of the main features and benefits of this credit card, starting with a little bit more details around that 2% back on everything. So this is one of the main selling points of the Apple Card, and like I said before, 2% cash back on all purchases is only available if you use your Apple Card through Apple Pay on your Apple iPhone or some other Apple product. Now clearly this was a very intentional play by Apple here to keep their credit card users within their overall ecosystem, and it really shouldn't surprise anybody because Apple has such a huge following and has been so successful with a market cap that is now around $3 trillion. But from a general credit card user perspective, 2% cash back on all purchases is decent if you do find yourself using Apple Pay on a regular basis. The real downside here though, and the part that's frustrating to me and many other people out there, is that if you use the actual physical Apple credit card that you can receive in the mail, which Apple is constantly marketing on its website as this very nice metal titanium credit card with this clean look that people like to show off, if you use that actual credit card, you're only going to be getting 1% back on everything, which is not good at all. That's basically just what any starter credit card out there can offer you. So in order to maximize what the Apple Card can earn for you, you really should never even take it with you in your wallet, but people really like to show it off and look at it because it is a nice metal credit card. So it's a weird little dynamic that this card has, and it's another negative in my opinion, because with other 2% cashback credit cards out there, you'll get 2% cash back whether you're paying with Apple Pay or just by swiping that physical credit card. But I get it, Apple's just trying to push Apple Pay out there, and this is kind of just a smart way for them to do it. Now, regardless of how you're using the Apple Card to get either 1% with a physical card or 2% with Apple Pay, Apple is going to pay you out those earnings in the form of what they call daily cash back. So daily cash back is another nice positive feature that I do like about the Apple Card, but it's probably not nearly as important as some people think it is. What Apple does is instead of waiting until the end of a monthly billing cycle to pay out any credit card points or cash back in one lump sum payment like many other credit card companies do, Apple Card is going to pay its users that cash back on a daily basis as they accumulate it through their daily spending. That way, whatever daily cash back you have in your account is available right away for you to use it however you want. But honestly, this feature to me feels very similar to receiving your paycheck 2 days early, which many newer bank accounts are offering, because it sounds nice on paper, but does it really matter? Now, I get it. There's this whole idea about the time value of money where $1 today is worth more than $1 tomorrow, because with $1 today, you can invest that dollar sooner so that it can grow in value for you. But realistically, the amount of daily cash that you're going to be receiving that much sooner is not going to be anything that's truly meaningful to impact any of your planned spending or investing. And if you really do want to invest whatever small amounts of cash back you're earning each day or each week, you don't need the Apple Card or daily cash back to do that, because you know with other credit cards out there, even if you're getting that cash back at the end of the month or something like that, you still can see the amount of cash back you're accruing in that account. So if you're sitting on a cash reserve in a separate account, you could just take an equal amount of that cash and then dollar cost average into the market that way. Again, I really don't think that many people out there think about cash back with the Apple Card like this, but I just wanted to mention it. So I'll say that daily cash back is another positive feature, because it's always nice to see that cash back in your account sooner rather than later, but it's really not a feature that should make you want to go out and get the Apple Card today. I also wanted to point out that on top of getting 1% back on everything with the physical card and 2% back on everything with Apple Pay, there are some ways to get 3% cash back at a few places. So of course, as you'd expect, you'll get 3% back on all Apple purchases. That's gonna be purchases that are physical and digital products, subscriptions, or really anything else that you buy through Apple. That's nice to see, because 3% back is a good amount, but Apple purchases is not an everyday spending category, so it's not something that I really personally value too much. I'd much rather see the Apple Card get 3% back at some everyday spending categories like gas or groceries or travel or different things like that. Now, in addition, you can also get 3% cash back at a few select places like Panera, Walgreens, Uber, Nike, and a few others that maybe we'll see some changes or additions to over time. But for now, 3% back at those places isn't too bad either. Okay, next here for another feature of the Apple Card, we're gonna be talking about how this credit card can be used to finance Apple purchases at 0% interest, which might be interesting to you because Apple does sell some pretty pricey things. For a lot of people, it's when they're looking to buy a new iPhone or iPad or iMac or anything like that from Apple that it comes to their attention that they can apply for the Apple Card. That way they can buy those things but finance it and pay for it over a longer period of time, again at that 0% interest rate. Now, this sounds like a good deal, and it definitely can be, but of course from a personal finance perspective, I think that it's always important to ask yourself, why are you making this purchase? I like to always recommend to people that they look at the less expensive option first before they turn to that 0% financing on the Apple Card, and there's very good reason for this, because a lot of times people will see that $2,000 sticker price for a brand new 2022 MacBook Pro, and they'll think to themselves, I don't have the cash on hand to pay for that right now, but then they'll see that it only costs $167 each month for the course of 12 months to pay for that same $2,000 MacBook Pro, and for some reason it becomes easier in their heads to justify that purchase, even though they know that they don't have the cash to pay for that. Now, if that MacBook is going to be used to generate income for an online business that you have, or if it's truly necessary for something in your college studies or something like that, then yeah, I do think that the Apple Card could be a good option for you in those situations. You just have to make sure that you're using that 0% financing wisely. But personally, I think that if you can afford to pay in cash, then you definitely should, or at the very least, look at getting a refurbished model or the previous year's model instead to get a little bit more bang for your buck. Remember that even though it is 0% financing and you won't be paying any extra in interest, it's still debt and you're still gonna have to pay that back at some point. Plus, it's another new monthly payment that you have to factor into your budget. So I just like to put all that stuff out there when talking about this feature. Now, a few other important details about that 0% financing feature on the Apple Card. Depending on the type of new Apple product that you're purchasing, the length of time you're gonna get to pay back for that product is going to vary. So I'll put that on the screen right now, all the information that you need to know. But for iPhones, I believe it's 24 months, so 24 equal payments over 2 years. For MacBooks, it's gonna be 12 months, but that time period is different for Apple Watches, for MacBooks, for AirPods, and other stuff like that. Another thing that you need to know and must consider before you finance the purchase of any new Apple product with the Apple Card is going to be the credit limit that you're given with this credit card when you're approved. When you finance a product on the Apple Card, the amount that you owe is going to reduce the amount of credit that's available to you from your overall credit limit. So for example, if you finance the purchase of a new $1,000 iPhone but only have a $2,000 credit limit on your Apple Card, that is going to use up $1,000 of that credit limit and leave you with only another $1,000 to use for other purchases. But more importantly, your credit utilization is now 50%, which is definitely on the high side for one single credit card. And any further purchases that you make with this Apple Card is just going to add onto that balance and increase your utilization even more, which will definitely affect your credit score. I've talked about credit scores and credit utilization in some other videos that I have here on my channel, which I'll link up here on the screen and down in the description below if you want to go check those out to learn more if you don't understand what I'm talking about. But one thing that you definitely do need to understand that I'll mention here in this video is that credit utilization is a very high impact factor to your credit score, and in general, the lower the better. Okay, now next, let's talk about another positive feature of the Apple Card, and this is one that I think is one of the most important and something that people value the most with this credit card, and that is going to be simplicity. Apple has always been about simplicity and making products that are easy for people to understand and use. Just look at the first iPhone from back in 2007, which was this revolutionary technology at the time, and it led to these smartphones that we have today, which have completely changed the way that we communicate and use the internet. All of that basically started with the first iPhone because it was simple to use and felt natural. Well, with the Apple Card, Apple wants the users of this credit card to feel the same way because they know that credit cards in today's world are a bit mysterious. A lot of people out there don't know how to manage them, and they don't fully understand how they can use credit cards strategically or how to use them to increase their credit score, how to avoid paying interest or other things like that. It's really not that much work. All you gotta do is just a little bit of research on your own, and it all starts by subscribing to channels like mine where I talk about credit cards and other good personal finance habits just like this. So go ahead and do that if you haven't done so already and if you're enjoying this video. But with the Apple Card, the value of this credit card does not really come from the rewards or the benefits that it has. The value comes from the usability. Even if you are only getting 2% cash back on everything with Apple Pay, that's still not too bad, and many people out there are very happy getting that because they just want to use that nice app that tracks all of their credit card spending, their account balances, and other account details just like that right on their phone. You can even see in real time an estimate of the amount of interest that you'll pay depending on different payment amounts that you enter within the app on your phone. So that's a good feature that I do appreciate for transparency purposes, but I said this many times before, if you're using credit cards the right way, it doesn't matter what credit card you're using, including the Apple Card, you should never pay a single cent of interest. Do not use the Apple Card to make a purchase unless you already know that you have the money set aside to pay it off immediately if you want to. So in other words, treat your Apple Card like a debit card that's linked to your bank account. That'll allow you to accumulate daily cash, positively impact your credit score, and keep the Apple Card a true no-fee credit card because paying interest is really just a hidden fee for using credit cards the wrong way when you think about it. The Apple Card also has another nice notable feature here that I wanted to quickly mention called Apple Card Family, and this will allow two people to co-own an Apple Card, and it also lets you add participant cards for maybe your kids. This can be a good way to track spending for the whole family, and for people that are added with participant cards, they're gonna be what's called an authorized user. Now, being an authorized user on a parent's credit card account is a very common strategy for people who have just turned 18 and are looking to get a head start on building their own credit history from scratch, so I think that's a very good thing with the Apple Card. All right, now let's talk about the types of people that I think the Apple Card is right for, as well as the types of people that I think it's not right for. It's not right for people like me who like to use credit cards strategically in order to get welcome bonuses and to earn points to maximize and then redeem for free travel, because the Apple Card is really just a basic cashback credit card. It's also not right for people that don't have an iPhone or for people that are considering switching between iPhones and other phones out there in the market, because if you do not have an iPhone, then you're really not taking full advantage of all the features that the Apple Card has to offer. And it's even probably not right for people who are looking for the optimal cashback credit card setup, because while it does get 2% cashback on everything with Apple Pay, you are limited by that Apple Pay feature only. There's plenty of other 2% cashback credit cards out there that offer 2% back no matter what, like the SoFi credit card or the Citi Double Cash. So there's plenty of other options out there and plenty of other cashback cards that earn cashback at a much higher rate and better everyday spending categories as well. But now let's talk about who the Apple Card is right for. So I believe that the Apple Card is going to be right for you and worth it in 2022 if you truly value simplicity over everything else. If you're a beginner with credit cards and maybe have a limited credit history, then I do think the Apple Card could be a good option for you because it's fairly easy to get approved for, and then once you are approved for it, you'll see that it's easy to use and you can get more comfortable using it and get a better understanding of how to use credit the right way. Then you can graduate onto some better credit cards out there that offer more than the Apple Card in terms of benefits and rewards and features, while still keeping the Apple Card open, since the Apple Card is a no annual fee credit card and it'll continue to positively affect your credit score over time. And even if you're not a beginner with credit cards, the value of that simplicity that the Apple Card offers with all those features that I talked about in this video, that value of simplicity can be much greater to you than you might value the rewards and other benefits of more traditional credit cards. But like I said before, if you do get the Apple Card, then just make sure you're using it the right way to help your credit score and not hurt it. If you're curious about how to do that, then go check out this video that I made recently where I talk about the 2 factors that you need to focus on to help your credit score the most. As always, I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video all the way until the end. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.